When last we left off, the party had found an ancient library full of magical books. Because it wouldn't have been a terribly exciting session to have them sitting here reading books and finding out what's in them, we've given them 4 days of downtime between sessions where the players have told me what books they wanted to read, and I created Cole's Notes versions of those books with all kinds of fun information from a long dead society, and they're going to give a brief summary of what they've been doing, what they've been reading as the 4 days passed. Do I have a volunteer to start us off?
I will.
All right, Lignyck, what did you read?
So, I found, I did a lot of reading on the dwarfs, not derfs, dwarfs. And they had 3 gods.
How can you tell how it's pronounced from reading it? It is Derf.
Because there's a W.
Yes,
W.
but remember that we met one before we ran into you.
You did?
Yes, a dead one, and he was very racist.
Okay, derfs. Anyways, so the derfs had 3 gods. Sort of. They had Adamant, and they had Tiam, and they had Lilium, and they were a bad relationship. They were like it was messy. It was, but they developed some things that are really important. They developed they have lots of books here about mithril and how to forge with it and how to make like the mithril armor. And they had adamantium, which is also, I mean, it's named after Adam. Adamant, but they hold on. They had these. They developed rings of they were called Sharowite and Darrowite, and that seems if we're talking about these, if those gods are part of what we're dealing with, that seems that's important that they had these rings made out of these materials that were named after these gods. So that's one thing I learned. There's a flying ship that was here. I want to go see it. It's by the lake. It crashed and lots of people died, but it was a gnomish flying machine, and I need to see that before we leave here, and that's really important. And there's more. What? The Warforged. You know those Warforged we're seeing? Those mechanical constructs we're seeing? And he pauses for a second and he looks around. They're derfs. They're one of the derfs. Hold on. What was his name? Balgan. He found a way to take their consciousness. He found a way to take their consciousness, and he was able to imbue it into these constructs. So these derfs, these Warforged, these things that we've been talking to, all been coming through and have been trying to kill us and all that, I think that they are all derfs that sacrifice themselves in order to remain protectors of their society. So if that's the case, then the derfs aren't gone. They're just different. And he looks at Faewyn very prominently as he says that one. And then the other stuff I read was pretty much about crafting, and they very much were. Crafting was their lives. Their goal was to make the perfect thing, whatever the perfect thing was. So if Krabby here was perfect, and I decided Krabby here was perfect, he would be my ultimate achievement. And some of them would go, that was my thing, and they'd be done, and they'd move on with life. And some of them would be, you are always striving to be better and being greater. So there was a kind of a society rift between them, where some of them, where they'd fight between each other about what was enough in proving your skill and your value and your place in society. And they pretty much had their monarchy. Their monarchy was weird a little bit. It was ritual combat. You had to beat the king. If you could beat the king, you could become the king. But the king was always the one that had the nicest stuff. So yeah, But so rings and flying machine and Warforged.
And the Dowreths are not gone.
And the Dowreths are not gone, I don't think, from what I'm seeing.
The only thing that I would say about your summary there is that the dwarves wouldn't fight the king to become the king. But you are correct that the king would have the very best equipment. But I don't remember putting anything in that would have said that they...
I just went from skimming. There's a reason that the elven rulers never wish to face a dwarven king in one-on-one combat, instead using trickery and skullduggery. That right. Anyhow, I would run with that error that I made in, because sure.
Okay. Great. Who would like to go next?
Grun can go next because there's not a whole lot. So for most of the time during the 4 days, Grun has been writing out a Orcish to Common kind of translation primer for Faewyn, so that while we're traveling, if he's unavailable to work with her to teach her the spoken word Orcish, then she'll be able to at least learn the portion of like the written, and there's like some phonetics and stuff in there. So in theory, with enough time, somebody reading this could teach themselves to read and write Orcish. So he's gotten 4 days out of 10 in so far.
Is there a pop-up, like pop-up books? Because that's really helpful.
I mean, not Grun. Ryan, what kind of roll does Grun have to make to determine if he is skilled enough to create this as a pop-up book?
There's no way. That's not happening.
All right, fine. No, it is not a pop-up book. It is a scratch and sniff, though. Don't ask.
Oh.
So in addition to that, I guess a portion of it I will wait until Gaelen's told his story, because that does kind of rely on some information that he'll relay. But Grun did also cast clairvoyance a couple of times. One, to take a look at the stairs where we had entered this level, so that there was not really anything happening there. There's no untoward sights or sounds. And then he sent another one into the tunnel that we had found that was frosted over with ice and had frozen orcs in it. So he had noticed that the ice was beginning to kind of thaw because some of the orcs had fallen over. And there was some kind of conversation going on that he couldn't make out, so he recast clairvoyance further down the hall. It was not at all helpful. So all he just knows is that there are some people there. It sounded like they're like some kind of conversation, potentially an argument. Not 100% certain on that, but it could be where the slaves had, or the slaves, the cattle, as it were, had moved on to in order to find the woman who was protecting them previously. And the rest I'll just hold off until Gaelen has told his information.
All right. Gaelen, would you like to go next?
Sure. So Gaelen, like Grun, also not reading books. He did a couple of tattoos, finished up Grun's tattoos, and the new one of the Death Stitcher on himself, and then took the bag of holding with the rations and extra cat rations and stuff that we had, and some of the extra blankets and etc. With him to try to catch up with Kakad and see if he could catch up with Kakad and the couple hundred effectively refugees that Kakad is overseeing, to try and deliver that food and stuff. But so he headed out with the help of Lignyck's sending stone and a few spells from the spellcasters and so on. But ultimately the mission went horribly wrong. He did some exploring, found the passageway down from where we are, but also found that each of the stairwells heading up, as far as he could tell, he couldn't tell from very far, but was had camps of orcs, and he took Jinxie with him, and then they went to try and find the other stairwell, the western stairwell, and they effectively were lured to the lair Balhanoth, feeling the whole time that he was getting toward there that it was the western passage. And whether or not it ended up ultimately leading towards the western passage, who knows? But basically, as soon as they got to the lair, Jinxie was transported to the Balhanoth, and Gaelen hightailed it back to the group, and spent the rest of that day and most of the next in the room across from the library that everybody else is in. And then was found by Skippy and Grun and came back and rejoined the group. I think that's it.
And I'll just jump back in here real quick to finish off then. Having heard about Jinxie being taken and assuming that Jinxie was dead, Grun performed a funeral ceremony as part of the spell ceremony, but like without the body. So it was more just the ritual act of going through the funeral. But something about it felt off to Grun, that like Jinxie wasn't dead, like he was performing a funeral for somebody who wasn't actually dead. To what Gaelen had mentioned, that apparently the Balhanoth I think feeds on fear or something like that, and so was likely keeping Jinxie alive as a food source, perchance. But Grun had also noticed that, similarly to when he had lost touch with Kalimvor, some of his magic is a bit of a struggle. Like there's a failure rate that typically wasn't there, but is very reminiscent to when he lost touch with Kalimvor. And that is it for Grun.
And I'll wait to describe Galen's strange behavior coming out of meditation until after the book's description, because that puts us basically immediately before where we are in time.
Okay. Skippy or Faewyn, who would like to go next?
Okay, so Faewyn obviously started with the book called It's Time, but unfortunately dwarves are ridiculous. They have no sense of imagination at all. They think time is completely linear and unchangeable, like all of them did. It's really bizarre. So one of the things, they just think anybody who doesn't think that is silly, and time can only be rearranged slightly, but not in any meaningful way. They prefer divination magics, and they're all about the God-given abilities that clerics can use that are way better than wizards. They don't like wizards much either. Faewyn did not respond very positively to the first book. The second one she read was Knowledge Forever on Creating an Indestructible Book, which was absolutely fascinating. It gives the exact steps required to do it. They must be created in the hidden sanctuary of the library in the sacred temple, where all books will be stored, i.e. where we are. Each sheet was imbued with spells of permanence, which had been in high fashion until the laws of magic changed. And after that, it was really hard to create a book. You need a wish spell, etc. They do say that sometimes when knowledge changes, that the wizards were able to update the book by casting wish to be able to take the permanence off and then reapplying it. And they also mention in such cases the books that were known to contain incorrect information should be returned to the desk where they were written and destroyed. So the desk in here should be where we can destroy any of these books as well. One note, there was a book missing, and we have not yet located that book as well. Just as an FYI to throw that in there. It starts with E, it starts with E, I believe.
What's the name of the book that we have?
Does not start with E.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, The War of Light and Dark by Cord Hammerslide.
So the second book I read on the second day was called Glothora's War. And the dwarves believed that undeath is a danger to all living things, not the, quote, mithrolide theory that we can all live peacefully for all eternity. Glothor, who was a dwarf, was spurned by all of his fellow dwarves for believing that mortals gave power to the gods, and he was exiled. So we don't know exactly what happened, but then he was driven to the sea, and people thought he died. However, he came back in ooze, displaced gnomes, halflings, killed everything, turned everything into undead. Dwarves and elves set sail for there, which we knew some of. They were defeated by the undead, with both dwarf and elven princes perishing on those shores. Then we had King Barbara and Giantbane and the Canopy King banded together and tried to defeat the undead again. King Barbara fell to the Liches, Lucius, and Venia, but the Canopy King stopped Glothor's ritual to ascend to godhood. Now here's the interesting bit. It's possible that it's possible that Dowreth, in some senses, aided the Canopy King because he disapproved of Glothor's quest to rise to godhood. So I've been Faewyn had been assuming that because Dowreth deals with the dead, that all of the undead were also in conjunction with him. But it sounds like Glothor's attempt to overtake everything with undead was not necessarily encouraged by Dowreth, but don't know for sure. And they recognize that some believe the Lich's phylacteries were never destroyed, so they live on, and we are confirming that right now. But day 3, I read Jinx's Curses, Spells, and Rituals, Volume 1. In essence, I learned a lot of things that were out of date and no longer apply, but I learned a lot of things about how spells used to function, like Mage Armor, which now lasts 8 hours and makes the wizard harder to hit, used to disappear if the wizard took too much damage, etc. If any of you have ever studied magic from previous times, you would recognize many of the changes, i.e., like version 3 or 3.5, somewhere in there. Then I read about Oos. It's far to the east across the Adrak Sea, a land of short people and magic. So gnomes and halflings mostly. Gnomes living more in the north, halflings in the south. Dwarves like gnomes a bit better than halflings, just because they like stone, but mostly they don't really like either of them, especially gnomes who build things that are confusing and potentially blow up. The Fey Gates that the halflings emerged from were pivotal to the evolution of the Westlands. They talk about the floating cities in the skies. Dwarves, elves, gnomes, and halflings worked together and created floating cities. And they weren't specifically elven floating cities, but the dwarves actually didn't want them floating over their own house because they fell. North and South Oos have a vast desert in between them, and then the undead overwhelmed everybody over there, and the desert wasn't a problem, and Oos still remains in undead hands. And in their opinion, the undead are too entrenched to ever remove them fully. Then I read Jinx's Curses, Spells, and Rituals, Volume 2. A little bit more complicated magic, also referencing how magic has changed, and some instances of some time magic in the ways that magic used to work. Next, I read Ritual of the Stars, which talks about, in essence, how day stars and doom stars are created. And the exact rituals for those are in this book. Next, I read Dowreth. It's written from the perspective of clerics of both Shiro and the Stormlord. Unsurprisingly, the parts that the clerics of Shiro wrote are very, very, very anti-Dowreth, claiming that only evil things come from darkness and death. The parts written by the clerics of the Stormlord talk about both the good and the bad. So it talks with a brief history of how Dowreth created doom in his cosmic war with his brother. In essence, black holes. They recommend reading Essence of Dark for a fuller exploration of doom. As stars died and created worlds from their remains, Dowreth actually used those shadows to grow his armies away from where his brother could see. But he also understands that the living is important because you can't have undead without living. He thrives on conflict with his brother, who supports life in some senses, but is a god of his word. He tends to be forthright and honest. Crossing him could be very unpleasant.
Crossing me.
Dowreth. I also, during this time, I cast a divination spell, and I asked if we had found what we needed or what else could we find from the books. I forget how I worded it, and I'm not finding it in my notes at the moment. And got the information that it would be potentially possible to find allies here. And Ryan, do I have that right? Because I'm still trying to locate my notes on that.
Essentially, yes. It said that while you've read the most important books already for your confrontation with the undead, there may be other books with certain topics that may lead you to find allies in your battle.
Thank you. So that was Faewyn's last few days. Faewyn has been entirely focused on the books. So anything that hasn't been explicitly called to her attention, she's probably missed.
So I'm kind of sharing this out of character. Like some of this can be in character. Like what I read is in character. But there's parts that I'm going to share that are going to be out of character. So I read the undeath is immortality. Good for you. It was basically kind of told about. It was kind of like a manual for being undead, and it talked about the different types of undead and how some bodies are better for maintaining sentience over time. And Skippy's choice of becoming a skeleton that he didn't make is probably one of the worst choices, I found out. And so now every undead imaginable is listed, so I have advantage on knowledge check rolls regarding undead. And then I read the Traps Compendium, which basically gives like all the details of every trap in the dwarven like deeps. So I got advantage basically on all of find and disable traps within the Dwarven Steep. Constant vigilance. The monsters under the mountain and how they won't stay down there is basically gives me basically it's about all the creatures in the undead, friendly and whatnot. It does go into some detail about the Ebon Elves, and that they claim to have been created by surface elves to walk the Underdark to seek out and destroy the dwarves. However, the Ebon Elves appear to have split into two factions. The Ebon Elves and the Dark Elves. The prior rebelling against the surface elves. The prior is rebelling against the surface elves, wanting to seek out their own peaceful existence in the lightless halls of the world. So the Dark Elves, that's the Ebon Elves, and then the Dark Elves are vicious and cunning and seek to cut through all of their way to conquer the Underdark. So, you can tell an Ebon Elf because they dye their hair black and purple and blue, and to differentiate themselves from the Dark Elf cousins. I think that if we were to find some kindred spirits down here, it might be with the Ebon Elves. I thought that was interesting. And so now I have advantage on intelligence checks regarding the creatures that live in the Underdark.
Some of the tracks that I found sound like they may very well be those Ebon Elves. They travel alone, not like the orcs were, and they were definitely elven feet.
Okay, then the next one I read was called Killing Monsters, and it was just basically a fluff piece about killing monsters. There's some stuff in there about what is it? Okay. I didn't really get much from that one. So then Underdark Abominations I read, which appears to try to lure people to find out what sorts of horrors live below. Instead of seeking to educate the reader, it's about the existence of creatures and places in the ecosystem, although many appear to be at least frightening. Oftentimes, by understanding what a creature fears, you can calm its emotions and speak rationally with it rather than resorting to violence. Thought that was interesting. Then Lichbane, which was about the rise of Glathor, first in Thorvald's Deep. So the fact that he is a dwarf, and then the Gods' War, which was about the war between Shiro, Dowreth, and Stormlord, right? Ryan?
Yep.
And then at the end of the fourth day, as I was packing up, I heard a voice in my head. This is the part I'm not sharing yet. Little one, this is Venya. I hope undeath suits you. Where are you now? Lucius has abandoned his hunt for the book. You are safe. You recognize it as a sending spell, and I can respond immediately. Is there any way to be sure? I asked if it was really her, and I was assured it was. I responded to her by saying, the book is all but destroyed. Why did you do this to me? What is his plan? Are you safe? And she came back with, describe where you are, please. I could not speak unless you were like me. Lucius is in ooze. I am safe. And I said to her, I said, you suspect already, but we're in Thorvald's Deep. And I said that we seek Bolnar because he thinks that we should. And I asked where is she, and that we're closed in by enemies above and below. And then she responded that her friend Kalkaman knows it. What part of the city are you in? And this is the last sending for today. Be specific, I will save you. And I told him that we were in the library and that we might go to the East Residence, and that I want to see if there's any flying ships that function and escape by air. And that was the end. And then basically right after that, Ryan was like, cease and desist, it's all done.
I'm going to clarify. I said that as you turned towards Faewyn after your magical conversation, you asked if you could if you guys trusted Venya, and then a statue appeared in the corner of the room, and I paused the game at that point so that nobody could continue to discuss what had been read that day or anything else. No follow-up actions. It was just that we're going to be starting right where you left off there.
Yeah, because I'm sure that he's going to get in trouble for telling Venya.
Exactly where we are.
Maybe. Seemed like a good idea at the time. It's just something about that Lich I trust.
That's a weird statement.
I suppose.
Yeah, not a common sentence. Okay, well, a few moments before our present time, Gaelen was in meditations, and about the time everybody is finishing today's readings, he came out of his meditations quite disturbed, cackling maniacally, and then looked around, not really embarrassed, but
what? You're weird. I'm not weird.
Yeah, that's right. But what? And then Grun checked in on Gaelen, as he typically does, and so Gaelen shared the visions he had during his meditation, which were the Balhanoth feasting on Kinjinxi's fears, and seeing us, or the rest of us, being consumed by an ooze in the library that we're in. Although he did also mention that Ken Lignyck strangely was going on about flying machines while this was happening, and also about being hunted and trapped by the Dark Elves, and then that there was a bunch of other really strange, disembodied hopelessness stuff like that. And then Gaelen suggested to Kin Grun that the Jinxie could still, he might be right, King Jinxie might still be alive, and that he should reach out to him with a sending spell, because it's a good way to sort of a sonar to see if someone's still alive. And then Skippy asked Faewyn in her head whether or not we could trust Venya.
And are we starting time now, or is there anything else that needs to be added from anyone?
I think that probably sums it up quite nicely. So, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, Skippy at this point asks Faewyn if you trust Venya, and immediately after he sent that message, a large statue of Dowreth appeared in the corner of the library.
Does anybody tell Faewyn?
I will get a I was going to say a panicked look, but I'm on a skull, so I have the same surprised look I always have, and turn to Faewyn and message. There's a statue of Dowreth.
Where? Oh,
Gaelen is up and in his drunken stance.
that has not always been there, guys. When did it come? Did one of you bring it in here? And she'll send back to Skippy. I'm not 100% sure with regards to Venya.
And Grun will walk up towards the statue.
Careful, Kin.
And
Can you ask Gaelen if we trust Venya? Don't tell him
Guys, do we trust Venya?
The Lich.
Yeah.
Jem Lucius's minion, Venya. This is the one we're talking about.
Yes, I get questions.
The one that murdered Kin Skippy.
Partway.
well,
He
all the
still
way.
moves a lot.
I would err on the side of no.
Well, that's
Agreed.
okay.
Okay, I'll message to Faewyn. Ask him if it's bad if you told her where.
I'm just going to message back. I think we know the answer to that if the answer is no. Venya may be aware of our current location. But should we talk to the statue first? What does one do to a statue? Grun, this seems to be your area of expertise.
Well, she is correct, Kin Grun. This is your evil deity.
I mean, evil, not good, but I mean, I don't necessarily we've decided evil. I mean, not good. Definitely not good. And Grun will walk up to the statue and kind of send a prayer towards it. Just kind of saying, are you there?
There is no answer.
Did one of you bring the statue in here? Because it's kind of crowded.
If anyone was likely to have done that, Kin Wizard, it would have been you.
No, I was reading.
Or perhaps Kin Grun. Can we gather our things? If what you say is true, that Jem Venya may know where we are, then we need to not be where we are.
Well, how on earth would she know where we are?
He says to Gaelen, but she said that she could save us, and then he'll like clamp his hand over his mouth. Like,
she said that she could save us. Do you mean Jem Venya said that?
And he kind of nods with his hand.
Recently?
He'll kind of kick at the ground and shrug.
Kin Skippy, are you compromised? Can she see where you are?
And he'll message, no, she can't see where I am. She had to ask. But the only way she could talk to me, she said, was if she made me like her.
And what was she contacting you about?
Oh, that was to Gaelen.
Oh, sorry.
You say that she had to ask. Did you tell her? Galen's answering out loud, by the way.
His shoulders kind of slump and he says, I there's just something about her I trust. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I'm sorry.
Kin Rogue, what is done is done. Let us gather our things and not be where we are.
I said, but what if she can save us?
He asks, what if she can save us? That's possible, but we'll find that out later when our location is not compromised. Are we ready to mobilize immediately?
Faewyn's going to grab a couple of the books that aren't in the bag of holding.
I was going to say, I mean, Grun packed everything back into the bag when you got back and has been packing up the books that weren't being actively read but seemed of interest to people. He had already kind of packed up most of those, so I think the bag's full. We're currently the bag of holdings at capacity. So yeah, if anyone wants additional books, they're gonna have to carry them on their own.
I can take some stuff too. Like I got lots of room in my inventory now that I've figured out that I wasn't tiny.
Cool. Last 2 books for somebody, and I kind of almost am curious about the Book of Songs one.
While people grab whatever of their things and a book or 2 to add to the mix, Gaelen will stand directly in front of the statue and say, "No offense meant. We will be on our way."
There is no response.
I'll kind of tip my head to him and maybe just kind of 2 fingers salute on the way out.
Realizing that everybody is leaving, Lignyck is going to quit what he was doing, look up, and around the bookcases catch a little glimpse of said statue, and run over, and he's going to do an investigation of that beastie.
Who are you fooling? Lignyck doesn't miss anything.
I was saying, Grun was also going to be doing that because he wants to investigate how the statue showed up and kind of what's the statue made out of.
The statue appears to be made out of marble, and you do see that there's a bit of damage to it. Like it's not in perfect condition.
Do you guys want to leave right away, or do you guys want me to detect magic on it? That'll take 10 minutes.
No, we don't need to know whether or not it's magical.
I mean, I'm curious. I'm looking around on the floor to see was there some kind of hidden area that it raised up from?
King Grun, are you a feline?
No,
because you know what curiosity does to those.
Absolutely, but
if Jem Benyon knows where we are, I would like to just leave.
Well, do we still intend to destroy the book before we leave?
Not here.
Yes.
We tried here, didn't we?
No, this is the exact spot where we have to destroy the book if we want to destroy it. We never tried because we didn't want to do that until we were sure we were leaving because we didn't want to instigate a very rapid exit.
Yes, King Grun.
I'm going to throw you guys into combat right now.
Shoot. Lame roll.
Ooh, that's better than usual for me.
I believe I was standing right in front of it.
And I had mentioned walking over to investigate it.
Oh, wow, my initiative is on fire.
You beat the statue.
Yeah, I guess there's that.
Gaelen and I have swapped initiative positions.
I'd say you beat me, but that's really not a challenge at all.
Lignyck, can you roll? Oh, Krabby just gets your initiative, right?
Yeah.
Surprise! Even though it rolled a 1 for initiative, it gets to go first. So Grun, as you are talking to Gaelen about destroying the book, all of a sudden this statue comes to life and attempts to clobber you.
It's trying to smoke Grun?
Whoa!
10 misses.
Yes, it does.
And we're all very glad.
And a 7 misses. So this thing all of a sudden just slams into your armor, and you're not hurt by it, but it's shocking that this thing has suddenly come to life. And that's its turn.
Well, I'm not a fan of that.
It's not going to get another turn.
Yeah, it's just flailing around, and it smashed its hands into books. They've gone flying off shelves. It's chaos and mayhem.
Oh, now that's really taking it too far.
Oh yeah, it was fine until it wrecked a book.
One moment, I'm just doing a little bit of calculation.
Faewyn's like, I would totally fireball him if it weren't for the collateral damage.
Of the books, not us.
Right. Yeah, she's not concerned about us.
That is a 6-bolt magic missile.
So 30 points of damage.
He's
Yep.
messing with books.
Yeah.
Oh, and Grun.
Oh yeah, and Grun.
Thank you for the
almost hit Grun though.
the afterthought. Appreciated. Very, very much
Well, you
appreciated.
handled it well. The books are a little more fragile.
I mean, Grun is the tank. Which is not saying much, but Grun is the tank.
That's all for now.
Anything else? That's it?
Yep.
All right, Grun.
So Grun, like, aware that was just like crazily close to being really bad for him, is going to go ahead and cast a 4th level guiding bolt on it.
Okay.
Oh yes, I did.
You're killing your god statue.
It's an
It tried to
imposter.
kill me first.
Oh,
It did.
Wow, that's a nice solid hit.
And whoever attacks it next has advantage on their attack.
oh, sweet.
But why did you roll your damage? Why did you roll twice?
Yeah.
Apparently 3 times. I clicked it once, and it is just continuing to roll. Potentially because
Well,
I cast it at 4th level.
I think they all count.
Oh, what is that thing?
Dead, blood.
So Grun, you smoke this thing with divine power, and it goes down. Quit rolling guiding bolt damage.
Yeah, stop it.
I know, right? I clicked it once. I swear, just once.
He's just trying to rub it in.
Yeah. So the thing shatters, and in its place you see an incorporeal form floating in the air. Anything else on your turn?
I mean, so the statue went down, and now there's this floating goblin-y thingy just off to the side, or is it hovering over where the statue was?
It's it kind of it left.
I swear, I should not touch it again.
You may want to reload your.
Oh my god!
Yep.
Grun's wrath at bringing his god into this apparently is something else.
Yeah, he's into the couple hundreds damage by now.
It's so many rolls.
I don't know. The problem is, okay, I have to exit the Foundry properly, because otherwise I cannot log in without you kicking me out.
I'm starting to wonder if I'm going to have to refresh. Yeah, it's a weird bug, all right.
All right, exited, and I'm joining back in. Hopefully that has killed any potential issue.
So the thing that has replaced it is not adjacent to anyone at the moment. Is that right?
Nope.
And sorry, did you say it is like hovering over where the statue just got destroyed?
Yep.
Okay, then I think Grun's just gonna take a couple steps back, and that'll be it for now.
And I assume it has a name tag on it that says Eidolon.
Yeah, Skippy.
Okay.
You realize as this thing falls what this is. You just read about it in the Big Book of Undead. And the Eidolon basically animates statues and fights with them, but doesn't have any real power itself. Once the statue is destroyed, it can make people afraid of it. But the big danger is that it will get away and find another statue to inhabit.
Okay, a message to Grun. No, that would be an action, wouldn't it, if I messaged?
But it can't just inhabit any old statue, right? Or can it? Or does he know?
I'm going to, I'm just going to aim at it and fire.
Yeah, it can't be any statue. It specifically has to be a sacred statue.
I got a crit.
Oh, also, Ryan, should I have rolled to see if that spell worked?
Oh shoot! Yes.
I thought you were rolling percentages to actually get your slots.
Oh no, we haven't come back to that yet.
No, he has a spell fail chance right now.
Well, I mean, one of the times he rolled damage would have gone through.
Right?
So how does he look after that shot?
First, I need to see if Grun's spell worked and if he's even out of the statue. Sorry.
What do you want me to roll?
Yeah, roll D100. Yeah, it worked. Okay. So Skippy crits and hits it for 32 damage.
Maybe.
Anything else on your turn, Skippy?
No, that's it. But I did ask how it looks after I hit it.
Yeah, your magical crossbow definitely hurt it.
Okay, good.
All right. Anything else, Skippy?
Nope, I don't have any questions.
It is your turn.
Can I just say that because I'm actually plugged into the computer this time and I'm hearing the hype tracks for the first time in a long time, I love them so much.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, they're nice. Okay, kicking him in the face. No, I'm not. Stitcher
Okay.
needle.
Yeah, that hit.
Key to stun.
How is it immune to everything but stun?
There are like two things
Yes!
that are immune to stun.
That's so obnoxious.
And that is a DC 15 now.
It is stunned.
Oh yeah, he is. That's good. So I will attack my second time and with super advantage.
You hit.
And I will make my bonus attack.
And it disappears into the ether.
I kick around at the remains of the statue.
+5 Holy Avenger.
Yeah, there's big chunks of marble on the floor.
Skippy, if Gemvenya contacts you, feel free to have a conversation. Getting information from her might be useful to us, but do not tell her where we are.
Yeah,
She is influenced by Gem Lucius, perhaps more than we can tell.
yeah, but you didn't see her fighting against him.
I could tell from what you and Grun have told me that she was fighting off his influences and giving everything she could, but it doesn't change that he has influences.
Yeah, but he gave up and left.
What do you mean?
He went back to Ooze.
So says Gemvenya.
And remember, she had to fight to shake control from Lucius. So there's no guarantee that she had fought off control of Lucius to talk to you. Because remember, she was like barely managing to hold it off the last time, and yet this time she managed to have a rather thorough conversation with you. It's a little suspicious.
Well, let's just destroy the book, and then there won't be a reason for them to want us.
Yes, please, Grun, if this is the correct place to do it. I have my doubts, but please try.
Okay, everybody get as far away as you can, and Grun will place the book on the desk and move 60 feet away, because that's the casting range of Sacred Flame.
Faewyn, would you like to watch a book be destroyed?
No. Faewyn might step out of the room, actually.
How about we all step out of the room, and then we can be on our way?
Did somebody grab the 3 books that I put in party chat?
3? Oh, sorry, yeah. No, I grabbed 2, but I'll grab the other one.
Thank you very much.
Lignyck would have grabbed the books, but he was distracted plotting an airship.
Well, you can grab
Oh,
them
if
now
you
if
want
you want.
Yeah, if you want to grab them, that's fine too. I'll
Or if you want
erase them off
additional
my.
ones.
Yeah, I'll erase them off my list then.
No, you keep those ones. I think he's going to grab new ones.
Okay.
Wait a
Second.
moment. Dragons and Southlands. Are we missing any books on either of those?
I can take more. How much do the books weigh?
5 each.
5 pounds each. Do we know who Gort is? Is Gort the one who's been spying on us?
That is Grumpsh.
Okay, I'd still like Gort.
And I mean, I have a 21 strength now. My carry weight is ridiculous. So
Lots, so I can pick more.
really, if we want, we could empty out the library as long as we have the physical
Yeah, the physical
storage
space to
space.
actually hold the books. That's the
Yeah, that's what I
problem.
mean. We just need the physical storage space, but like in theory, we have the physical capacity to empty out this library.
Ryan, do you want to tell people how many books we can?
Those things are,
Take.
Ryan, both of those are in our bag of holding.
Okay, I hadn't looked at the list recently, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So
No, I added
Yerin's still
4.
listing books.
Okay, it is time, Grun, please, so we can be on our way.
Yep, and after making sure everybody is safely behind him, and by partially closing the door that he is standing behind, Grun casts Sacred Flame on the book and is prepared to slam the door closed the rest of the way if there's suddenly a rather large, resulting chain reaction.
Okay. Divine light shines down on the book, and nothing happens.
Grun Grun runs around, places the book on each of the different desks, and casts the same spell on each of the books, doing it in the same manner as much as possible.
And each time divine light shines down on the book and nothing happens.
All right, so the book was
Maybe-
not made here.
Maybe we should try fire.
I mean, it's half what that was.
Oh, okay, but can we make sure there's no other books?
Lignyck is going to run in. He is going to grab the book. He is going to run to the first table that was indicated. That one. He's going to set it down, and he's going to hit it with the hammer that he got off the altar.
Okay. You smack the book, and the binding does crack.
Ah!
Keep going, Ken Lignyck.
Well, actually, Lignyck, would you mind if I gave it a bit of a firmer whack?
Okay. And I need the hammer back, though.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. You will get it back as soon as we're done. I just feel like put a little bit more oomph into the swing.
Okay, here.
And Grun will bring that hammer down.
Yep. You smash the book with the hammer, and it continues to just shatter the binding on it, and pages start to come loose.
All right. I'll keep smashing at it. And
I think we need
once
to
it's kind
burn
of
it.
like destroyed. Well, I was gonna say, but I think we need to like destroy the permanence, which I think it potentially means like we have to like destroy the binding of the book. And then I am actually going to see if I use the hammer. Can I like grind up the pages with the hammer?
Yep.
Okay, and then we'll try taking one of the pages that's fallen out and see if it's possible to just burn it regularly now.
Yes, it burns.
Gaelen will put a hand
we go.
on Lignyck's shoulder and say, "Good thinking, Kin Artificer."
Yeah, and Grun will hand back the hammer and then start burning the pages.
Faewyn is sobbing quietly in the corner.
I mean, Faewyn, as much as this is terrible, and I understand sacrilegious to books, think of it this way. Now, no lich who's planning to upturn the world will be able to have access to this knowledge, and therefore have access to a lifetime's worth of information that he would be able to manage and control to his own desire. So, in theory, we could have just saved thousands, maybe even millions of books by destroying this one.
Grun, were you alone when you were burning this book, or were other people helping you gather up the pages after you smashed it? What was going on there?
I will leave that to the rest of the party.
I think we're mostly keeping our distance.
Faewyn was not helping with the burning of a book.
I would pat Faewyn a couple times on the shoulder, kind of like a there.
I think we can assume then that yes, Grun is alone.
Grun, can you give me a dexterity saving throw, please?
Probably not.
Probably not.
He didn't ask if you could give him a successful one.
That's true.
Oh,
Oh,
So, Grun, you set fire to the book proper, and your eyes open wide in shock as you see runes flaring to life across the binding and pages. Just before it explodes in a ball of flame, you take 16 points of fire damage because you saved. You managed to duck and roll as the fireball goes off. But you can see other books and shelves left in the library are immolated, and the fire is spreading.
Kin Faewyn, look away.
Oh my goodness!
I was assuming because Faewyn has been sobbing in the corner, she likely, given her physical position, likely does not see this. So Grun quickly exits the room, closes the door behind him, says, "Well, that's done. Let's go."
Oh my goodness.
and half of him's burnt.
Yeah, but would Faewyn even notice?
No,
Right? Like with her
probably.
perception? No, there's no way she noticed.
Are you all right, Kin Grun?
I mean, just a little singed, just slightly, and I cast Cure Wounds at second level on myself.
Well, good work. Now let's move.
Faewyn, can you give me a perception check?
Yes.
Wait, are you on fire?
Yeah, you're sobbing too
Oh,
hard to
my
hear
goodness.
the fireball go off or anything, or even notice that Grun ran out of the room and slammed the door and healed himself. Just the thought of one book being burned is quite enough for you.
Ignorance is bliss.
I would probably be like still patting her on the shoulder and like probably notice the fact that there's this thing went off and like is like patting her more frantically, not to like get her attention, but just because he's like, oh my god, it's
More
okay,
comfort
it's
is
okay,
necessary.
don't look, don't look. And it might even be hurting her a little bit by accident.
Yeah, Grun just looks at everybody that may have noticed and just kind of puts the finger up the like.
Lignyck is looking at you more than a little mortified, because while his isn't as truly passionate as Faewyn's is, he's concerned.
I mean, Grun will kind of pull him over to his side and is like, unless you know how to put out all of that, we should leave.
Besides, we took the books of value.
Yep.
My kin, good job. We have accomplished at least part of our mission, but our location is compromised. Let us be moving.
Hold on.
I feel like a whole level stronger after destroying this book. It's like some huge quest was completed.
Yeah. Bloody metagamers. Yeah, that's going to be worth a boatload of experience.
Anyone else notice that Grun did not give the hammer back?
Oh, Grun hands it back. He does not keep it for himself. He gives it right back to Lignyck once we're done with it. Probably before he actually like tried to burn the book and Lignyck was leaving the room, he would have given it back. I mean, other than smashing, indestructible books, I don't really need another smashy thing.
Well, that kind of sucked.
Just a little bit, but we should be on our way. And thankfully, I healed everything but 1 point of that damage. So.
Faewyn, you should be overjoyed. You are part of the success of the destruction of a book.
Oh! And she wails a little bit.
Grun swats Gaelen as he walks by just a little bit. Remember that sensitivity training we discussed? Yeah, we're gonna rediscuss that.
I was just saying she was instrumental.
Couldn't have done it without her.
Literally.
Skippy would message Gaelen and say, hey Gaelen, do you think that these Dowreths, you call them, might be able to like move my consciousness into Warforged body so that I wouldn't be dead anymore? Because Warforged are alive, right?
You would have to talk to Kin Lignyck about that. He seems to know more about the Warforged Dowreths than anyone.
Oh yes, right. Okay. Kin Lignyck. Basically same question.
I'll have to read. Wait. Read. So, we were in the library. This thing, we broke the book down. The thing happened. What if they have? Hold on. What if they have where instead of it just protecting the book, it also has where it can. If they can have, we can repair. And he turns around and starts running back to the doorway.
I didn't understand a thing that Lignyck said there.
I think what he said was, what if they can repair the remains of the parts of the book? Or maybe we should get the ashes and spread it.
Grun grabs Lignyck by the collar before he can run too far, which isn't really a challenge for Grun at this moment. And
Except,
like,
I am gonna ask you for the grapple check because
for sure.
You're gonna smoke me with it, but I'm still gonna ask for it.
Oh, for sure, because I can still roll a 1. Like this is not a. So I roll strength versus your athletics or acrobatics, right?
You roll athletics.
And is it athletics or acrobatics for me?
Your choice.
I'll roll the one that's a 0 instead of a -1 modifier then.
It's a good
No,
call.
Grun, you rolled it twice. You have to take the 1.
Grun, you fail to grapple Lignyck.
Well, and I go, well, there's not really a lot left.
What? What do you mean?
Kin Artificer, are you concerned that the book is not thoroughly destroyed?
Grun just goes over and tries to like shield Faewyn from seeing Lignyck open the door since there's nothing else he can do.
Kin Wizard, would you do me a favor? You have the ability to locate objects. Can you try and locate that book?
Not today, but I could tomorrow.
That is fine. Kin Grun also has
Oh,
something
actually,
to
I can. Never
do
mind.
tomorrow.
Hold on. I can do that. Sure. I would cast locate object on the book, Ryan.
Okay. While you're doing that, Lignyck, you open the door and are hit in the face with blasts as magic is being unleashed from these books that are having their magic unraveled unceremoniously and in an uncontrolled manner. Can you give me a dex save, please?
I just rolled my good deck save. I'm pooched.
May I, as a player, ask a question? If we couldn't destroy the first book with fire magic and needed the hammer to do it, why are these ones blowing up?
Sacred flame is not fire magic.
Ah,
Yeah. It's radiant.
gotcha. Thank you.
Yay, half damage for me.
Yeah, they didn't have to break the book with a hammer first. If they would have just used fire, it would have burned as well.
Ah, cool. Well, except for Lignyck.
Right.
Thank you for satisfying my curiosity.
But it was way cooler to break it up first.
Lignyck, you successfully duck out of the way, but you still take 11 points of fire damage as it comes roaring out the door.
Lignyck, what did you do?
Can I help Grun try and close that door?
Sure.
Grun, you go ahead and roll with advantage.
That should actually be a 21 because my athletics is +5.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. You slam the door shut just before the next explosion rattles it, and you hold it in place.
Lignyck, what did you do to the room?
What the heck was that?
That was the assurance that there's nothing left of that book. Let's go, folks.
What happened?
Yes, Kin Lignyck, what did you do?
I just opened the door.
See, that was the problem. You opened the door, and now you've set off some sort of trap. Obviously, we should get out of
It
here.
wasn't exploding when I left.
So, you know what? It must be some kind of like weird close the door 3 or 4 times, and then it sets off a trap thing. It's very, very strange.
I wouldn't worry about the books, Faewyn. I think they're all indestructible.
You think?
I mean, wasn't that the purpose?
Well, that makes me feel a little better. Thanks, Skippy.
Would I be able to make an Arcana roll or something like that to be able to differentiate what kind of damage I was getting buffeted with there? Like to recognize that it was more of a magic than a elemental kind of thing, fire or such?
Sure.
Can I guidance myself on that?
You can touch yourself. Yep.
I touch myself.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't normal fire. You wouldn't think that fire would react that way burning books. There definitely has to be a magical component to this.
So now we'll wait for spell. Okay.
Yes, Kin Wizard. Any sense that you can actually find the book any longer?
Locate object does not reveal the book.
Can't find it right now. No book.
That is excellent news. Let us be on our way.
Guys, this is the hardest task I've ever done in my life. Killing a poor book.
Yes, you'll be awarded much experience.
That wasn't actually where I was going with that, but cool.
Feel better later.
I know.
All right, enough is enough. Now let us be on our way.
I'd like to listen at the door.
Okay. Give me a perception check. And sorry, which door are you listening at?
The one that we're just going through.
Okay.
I don't notice much.
Nope.
Which way, Gaelen? We want to go to the East residence, right?
Well, it seems to me that we hopefully have completed our primary mission, and it made sense to follow up on that information you had on that Dowreth that that extended his life to protect against Gem Benya and Gem Lucius and Dowreth Glithor.
I bet you he's a warforged now, like the rest of them. Or he might be undead. Maybe he's a follower of Glithor.
And perhaps with his help and Lignyck's, we can get you out of that corpse into a warforged earth body.
That's what I was wondering. But maybe they have a slimmer model.
In the meantime, Skippy, if anyone in your head asks you where we are, tell them to go away.
We're in the stairs, I say in my next message.
So where was it that you thought this person would be?
Bolnar?
Yes.
Yeah, in the East Residence. That's the only thing that he's there reading the words, the books of power.
Faewyn, do you remember the East Residence being on the list of places?
Of course I remember.
So, Faewyn, I just wanted to tell you that Bolnar is in the East Residence that I want to go see. He's got these books of power that he's studying.
I love books. And I do say that out loud. We'll give the other people a chance to know that you're kind of screwing with me a little bit.
I'm not.
Cool, even better.
Yeah, that's one of the books said that he was studying books of power. And Ryan has totally written the entire thing.
We don't have to kill any more books, do we?
We don't know yet. Hopefully not.
I'm not asking you right now. That was for Skippy.
Oh, sorry.
She's not happy about destroying the first book.
No, we're fine. I think that destroying books, anything that we find, we can study. I think.
So
maybe he's done studying them because he's been here for eons. So he may be
books,
like,
then.
Yeah. Well, he might be bored with them now, so we might be able to study.
So I can get to the residential area. Do you know if he's on the upper, middle, or lower one?
Just said east. Ryan, do you remember if there was more?
It said East Residences.
Well, the East Residences can't be too far from where we are, right? We are in the, near the East Corridor.
So Ryan, can I lead us eastward to the residences on whatever level we're on?
Bolnar should be found in the bottom of the East Residence.
Okay, so the lower level, ideally.
I know where there's access to the lower level.
Living alone, studying.
But Kid and Skippy, perhaps don't get ahead of yourself. You're reading a book millennia old. Bolnar may not exist any longer.
I know, but his books of power might exist, and maybe they might be something that could give us a leverage in the fight against the undead.
This seems like a really good argument.
Yes, or they may be books of evil power and need to be destroyed. Either way, we should go find them.
Faewyn shoots him a really dirty look.
Skippy does too.
I mean, seeing as King Lignyck and King Grun are so good at destroying books now.
Meaning?
I'm just saying, if they're very good at it, it may come in handy.
Well, he just means that they've destroyed one magic book. If there's other evil books that need to be destroyed, then maybe it would be just as easy.
But there probably isn't a book more evil than that one, right?
Right.
Grun sighs and shakes his head at, the flags being raised all around him.
All right, so we head off to see
The Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, we'll go to the we'll go to that access to the lower level.
Okay.
Well,
so just to clarify, you guys are on the lower level of Thorvald's Deep right now. As you come down from the temple, the staircase that you take brings you down to the lower level of Thorvald's Deep.
Right. I'd forgotten that Thorvald's Deep was like 2 stories.
I'd like to be watching for signs, Ryan, specifically looking for the residential areas.
Okay. And Gaelen, the staircase that you found down goes below Thorvald's Deep.
Okay. Are we going near that while headed towards the East Residence?
I don't know. Are you?
So, do we think Thorvald's Deep only has 2 levels?
Yes.
I think that's what we think.
Okay, then I would like to go to the residential area of this level first.
And does that take us near that entrance to the lower level?
No.
Okay, then as we're headed in away from that, I'll point in that general direction and say there is an entrance that way that goes deeper.
The what is referred to as the lower residential area is to the east of this lower section of Thorbold's Deep, in the same direction as the temple to Dowreth.
Okay, let's head in that scary direction.
Does Faewyn mention that to Grun?
Yeah, actually, she will. To everyone.
Sorry, I missed what she mentioned.
We're going by Dowreth Temple. It's near the east residential area that we're going to.
Well, I would actually like to stop by that temple if we are heading past it. There potentially might be some more information there, and potentially some items related to the task that Dowreth had set out. I believe this is actually the location of the ritual site to create his avatar. I have none of the materials to do so, but I would appreciate investigating it.
But I'm not sure I want to tell you where that is, because I don't know that I want Dowreth's avatar here. And what if the materials are in the temple?
Oh, they're not. I can assure you the ingredients are things that we are going to need. We would need to search for with purpose to find to raise his avatar. Plus, all of you would need to participate in the ritual together with me to create it.
What?
So as long as even one of you has no desire to do so, then there will be no avatar. Well, maybe not necessarily you, but I require 5 people, I believe it was, working together to create the avatar. So this is
So
not
what are
a
the
thing that we could
ingredients?
do. Oh, give me a minute. Lots of things. I have to go back into my chat and find it. So please continue.
Yeah, sorry, just Faewyn's highly skeptical at this point in time.
King Grun, the amount that you know about raising this evil deity's avatar is disturbing.
I mean,
Yes.
it is the god that I am currently worshipping who specifically gave me the task of raising an avatar, so he didn't really skimp on the details of how to do that.
You could have pretended not to hear him.
I mean, I could have, but that would have, done nothing except anger a potential god who we've discovered is not one who's keen on being angered. So there's that.
So are you suggesting that if we walked by the Temple of Dowreth and didn't go in, you might be struck down?
No, but if I don't, I mean, here's the thing: as long as I'm not helping him, then I'm eventually not going to be a worshiper of him, and eventually I will just lose all power here. Okay, hold on here. To create an avatar, you need to gather elements that are close to me: a vial of potent poison, the finger of an undead, grave dirt, and the essence of doom. On all of the inferior points of the 8-pointed star in the room, place the items, and on the larger points, 4 people must stand and take part in the ritual.
I hide my fingers from behind my back.
Yeah, I've given Skippy a little bit of a look there.
I pat Skippy and don't worry, I've had enough of having your fingers. So we have neither potent poison. We potentially would have the finger of an undead if I wanted to desecrate Skippy. We don't have grave dirt, and we don't have the essence of doom.
Don't you
So
carry
there's
grave dirt with
no
you?
way to. No, it's the grave. It's dirt from a grave. I do not carry
Okay.
grave dirt on.
King Grun, if you feel that you need to visit the temple on our way there, we will do so.
You don't know how to get there, so maybe you should wait until I decide.
Yeah, I'm trying to convince you that if we're going to go past it, that I wouldn't mind taking a look at it and just seeing, because this is the Temple of Dowreth, who these dwarves, some of these dwarves worshipped. There's potentially more information in their temple, and then if we can eventually maybe find a Temple of Shiro, same thing. We may find some further information as to the two of them. I'm more curious about if there's any new information to be gained there, given that, like I said, can't raise his avatar, and there's no active avatars to be hunting down and trying to kill. So there's no way I can even begin to work on his tasks, which I have not actually agreed to do.
And besides, this person we're going to visit was a worshipper of Dowreth. This may be useful to us.
Do you promise you are not going to try and create an avatar?
Yes.
Okay, then I will meet at the temple on the way.
Once again, could not do it right now anyways if I wanted to.
Faewyn is literally not sure if she is potentially aiding somebody she is going to have to try and kill at some point in time.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, eventually, but and then I mean, all I have to say is good luck killing a cleric.
It can be done.
Oh yes, absolutely.
She
Just make sure it's an insta kill,
she knows counterspell.
right? But so do I. I reverse your reversal card.
Should we head out?
Okay.
Kid Faewyn, Temple of Dowreth, please.
Okay, but you leave the books alone. She'll start leading the way there.
I don't hate books.
You would tell her that.
She probably bought it too.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, we know how awesome Gaelen and Grun are at, deception.
So good. I'm pro at deception. Amusingly enough, because my charisma's high enough, I'm actually not half decent. I'm actually
Faewyn's
half
pretty
decent.
easy to fool, so
There's also that.
All right, so are we going?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Who's leading the way here?
I call middle.
I call point, and I'm being kind of stealthy, careful as well.
I'll be with Skippy.
Is he being quiet? You want stealth rolls?
Yes.
And we're focusing on, tracks, ambushes.
Do you want them
Places.
from all of us, Ryan?
Yes, please. Well, Gaelen and Skippy, since they're out in front. So, Gaelen, you're doing survival, looking for tracks. You said.
Aid him.
Okay.
Okay.
Not well.
As you head east, you're noticing a lot of activity in the area. Tracks, blood, debris. There's a high volume of life in the area that you're heading towards.
Kin Skippy, ask Kin Faewyn how far away we are from the temple.
I message back to Faewyn. How far are we?
Ryan?
The guideposts don't give distances; they just give directions.
That's what I was guessing. No clue. I just know it's this way.
She doesn't know. It's just this way.
Let us proceed.
Okay. Remember, if I messaged to Gaelen, if it has colorful hair, it might be a friend.
Duly noted. Message back to hug the buildings.
Okay. Faewyn, he wants you to caress the buildings, like hug it.
That's really weird.
I don't understand either.
I'm going to message Gaelen. That's a weird thing. I don't like this building that much.
I thought Skippy was like the second most intelligent person in this group, maybe third.
Yeah, I know, but he doesn't really use his brains all the time.
Do you try again?
Okay.
What I mean is, let them know that there is increased activity, and we need to move extra stealthily.
Oh, right. He'll give you a salute and turn to Faewyn, and he says, there's lots of activity here, fresh blood and other sort of things. So stay close to the building so that you're out of sight.
Oh, I'll tell him. We've got to hide. Stay close to the buildings, guys.
Hopefully, we can get to the temple without drawing attention. Ryan, watching in the tracks and stuff, watching for the elf tracks as well.
You don't see any elf tracks in this area. And I should mention it just for the sake of mentioning it. You guys still have this feeling of being watched. It's also getting late in the day now. You guys have read 2 books today and had that fight. So if you carry on, there are going to be exhaustion checks coming up.
Okay. So we don't have any indication of there being a temple, like right over there. There's a temple that we're, of Dowreth.
No.
Is there any place that might make a good camp around here? A defensible room, or?
Yeah, there are buildings all over the place here, and they're all made out of stone. Thorbold's Deep was very well crafted, so it's easy to find buildings that are still standing and in good condition.
We'd like to find a small, as small as possible, 2-story, like small so that it's of little interest, 2-story that isn't right where all the activity, all the foot traffic is.
Do we want it to be big enough for me to cast a hut inside it?
We do want it to be big enough for a hut. So 20 feet across kind of thing.
Yep, that's no problem at all. You guys find a nice 2-story building, takes up the entire level, top to bottom, and there's lots of room in there for a tiny hut.
I will make a tiny hut.
You make a tiny hut.
Kin Lignyck, an alarm?
Yep.
Kin Skippy, if anyone speaks in your head, please let us know. We may be able to use that to our advantage.
Like anyone? Or just Venya?
Anyone.
Okay.
So we'll do our normal watch.
Yeah, I think it works.
Oh, Grun, before you sleep, you might want to heal Lignyck. He took some damage, right?
Lignyck can heal himself.
Oh, okay. Lignyck's always groping himself.
No, stop.
That was pretty indignant.
Sorry, Kin Lignyck. I often forget that artificers are also good healers.
Let's see if there's anything I want to cast off. Fire. I have an identify. Actually, I have 3 identifies I can do, but we don't have anything that needs identifying, I don't think,
Not that I know right now.
Yeah, not currently.
All right, sleepy time.
Ryan, I am gonna cast divination before I go to bed, and I'm gonna send that to you in a chat.
Okay.
And try and remember Kin Grun, it's not a character, but try and remember you were going to prepare sending.
Why was I preparing sending? I forgot.
So that you can reach out to Jinxie and...
Oh, you're right. Thank you. I forgot about that.
And then go through weeks of therapy to recover from what you probably likely get back.
Oh, it's third.
So nothing happens during the night. We're all fine. We gain 2 levels.
Yeah, I guess how much XP did we actually get, Ryan?
Ryan's awfully quiet. We're going to get attacked.
No, as messaging Faewyn because she had a really interesting question for divination.
And that's an acceptable reason for you to be quiet.
We got 11,000 experience. This is good.
She asked me a really tough question, so I had to do some thinking there.
That's why we have her. Someone's got to ask the tough questions.
Yep. The night passes uneventfully.
Whoa. Do we level?
No.
In the morning, I am reassigning infusions.
Ooh.
Okay.
I am dropping my Helm of Comprehend Language to get my crossbow back.
Ah, nice. And you're dropping the bag of holding because you're totally anti-books now.
I will stab you.
I just gasped over here.
And that was Michael, not Lignyck.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah. No, Gaelen would not tell you to drop the bag of holding.
All right. So what are you guys doing in the morning?
Prepping my spells.
Yeah. Grun sends off sending, attempting to reach Jinxie. And I will send Jinxie, are you still alive? If so, do you have any idea where you are?
You get a response. You get the sense that Jinxie is very close to death. And he sends the thought, like an image to you of a pool of flame nearby. And you get the sense that he doesn't want you to save him.
Like, doesn't want us to save him as in, like, he's kind of like given up, or as in it's too dangerous to come and save him?
Both.
Okay. Then I convey that to the rest of the party and mention that the Balanoth appears to have made its lair somewhere near a pool of fire. So if we do happen to stumble across one, we should immediately be on an incredibly high alert. But it seems like Jinxie does not want us to save him. It seems too dangerous, and potentially he's been injured or broken so severely that he doesn't think that there's hope for being saved.
Lignyck climbs up on Krabby and looks around at everybody.
And I come and stand by his side.
He's one of your companions, right?
Yeah, we have to save him.
I mean, no offense, guys, but as much as Jinxie has been a companion, he is an animal. I'm both saddened by what is happening and upset by it, but to risk our lives fighting a great evil for an animal that may not last long enough to even locate where he is, I'm sorry, but I'm not willing to risk all of our lives for that slim chance.
Gaelen, I will point out that you do know where the Balhonoth's lair is.
Right. Well, luckily for Kinjinxi, he doesn't get a vote. I know where the lair is, and we would need to be cautious long before we got there, because the Balhonoth was able to affect, at least my mind, I assume Kinjinxi's, long before we were at the lair. But it could not grab him until we were there, so I know the limits. I also know that a Balhonoth is the most dangerous thing we will have ever faced.
Skippy, do you know what it's vulnerable to?
Yes. I'm just trying to call that up right now.
I know that within its lair, it has excessive powers. Outside its lair, we could beat
Okay.
it.
So it is immune to being blinded. It has telepathy for up to a mile. It has legendary resistance. If Balhonoth fails a saving throw, it can choose to succeed instead. He's got a bite attack and a tentacle attack, and he can attack multiple times. He's got legendary actions, 3 legendary actions, which are bite attack, teleport, vanish. Lair actions. When fighting inside of his lair, it can take a lair action on an initiative count of 20. It can warp reality around an area of 500 feet square. He can target a creature within 500 feet of it, and they must make a wisdom save, or the target, along with whatever they're wearing or carrying, teleports to an unoccupied space of the Bahamut's choice within 60 feet of it.
That is how it took Kinjinxi.
Yeah, and it can become invisible to that creature for 1 minute. And it has regional effects as well. The region that contains the lair becomes warped with the creature's unnatural presence and creates one or more of the following effects. And so there's 2 effects that it can do. Creatures within 1 mile of the Bahamas experience a sense of being close to whatever they desire most. And the Bahamut can sense a strong desire of any human within 1 mile of it. And those desires involve place of safety, location, rest, temple, home, or somewhere else. So
That is why we felt like we were getting to the western stairwell, because that is what we sought.
So yes, everything I have just heard tells me that this is not at all a creature we want anything to do with.
Well, to be clear, what that means is that it has excessive power within 500 feet. So that gives us the size of its lair. Within its lair, it's exceedingly dangerous, and that its telepathy reaches for a mile, and that it can affect our minds within that area.
Yeah, so before we even get close to its lair, it knows we're here and can start messing with us. And then we have to get within 500 feet of it in an attempt to maybe get it to come out of its lair. But why would it do that when it knows it's incredibly safe and powerful in its lair?
Skippy, do you have any insight to how we would lure it from its lair? What does it want?
it wants fear. So the only thing to lure it out is fear.
But we'd have to make more fear than it already has in Kinjinxi.
And whatever else, I mean, as you said, these hallways are very busy and very active. I feel
have
like
an
it
idea.
doesn't watch for prey.
I have an idea.
I would love to hear it.
I can cast Cause Fear 3 times, and we just set a honeypot for him within sensing range, so just in the 1 mile, and we tie up 3 of our people, and I cast fear on each one of them, and that's 3 times the fear that he has now.
And lure him out of his lair.
Exactly.
Can Faewyn, can you make invisible creatures visible? Can Lignyck, perhaps?
In theory, I could be able to see them, but just me.
I could theoretically dispel magic on it if I could find it, but that's the closest I've got.
It didn't sound to me like its abilities were magical.
Then probably not so much for me.
And I have no means to do that.
I can fight an invisible creature, but not well.
I mean, as much as we may want to save Jinxie, does anybody honestly think, and this is Grun asking, not me out of character, does anybody honestly think that we have a chance against a creature like that?
It's a DC 12.
Even if we get it out of his lair, do we really think? I mean, but that's meta.
Yeah,
Right.
I know, but I was given the meta by the DM. He just gave me the link to the creature.
Oh, I know, but I don't think like we have a scale of challenge rating based off of what you'd find in a book necessarily.
Yeah, like it would be marked as like a scary monster, but like it wouldn't have a challenge rating.
You might be able to
necessarily.
use the terminology of the challenges, though, and it would be beyond a deadly.
Yeah, like it's maybe I got like a tier
And
to it, but like yeah,
My
deadly
question
exactly.
is what happens to the rest of our quest should we all die?
Exactly.
Well, we have completed the primary quest.
The
We have-
undead are still raising the world. They destroyed my hometown. I have not completed my quest.
We've prevented Glothor from being resurrected, hopefully. We have not stopped what is happening. We've just prevented, as far as we're aware, prevented things from getting worse at a significantly faster rate. That is all we've succeeded in doing so far.
And Faewyn saying what she does actually looks to almost snap Lignyck out of his focus, and he's Steamton, more undead. She's right.
I agree. And King Grun, I'm not suggesting that we march into its lair. We absolutely cannot engage it in its lair. I was there.
I'm saying we should not engage it at all, period. Like there's nothing to be gained for us by engaging in a creature this deadly at this time.
Oh, but it would have loot.
Imagine the books it might have.
She has given you such dirty looks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and yeah, Grun just looks at you guys just with like just a look of disbelief. Like you can't really be saying that, right? Like you don't actually think that that's a reason, right?
Kin Skippy.
Yeah.
If we go in or anywhere near its lair, we will all die. If we try to lure it out, we may all die. How do you feel if we don't go to rescue Kin Jinxie?
Well, I have always thought of King Jinxie as part of the group. And how would you feel if we didn't go and get you?
If I knew that all of you would die doing it, I would not want you to.
Exactly.
But if we lure it out of its lair, we might stand a chance.
Skippy, I ask you to repeat to yourself the words you just said. We might stand a chance. So even if we lure it out of its lair, there is no guarantee in success or that at least one of us doesn't die or get seriously injured. We could lose far more than we already have. And there's also no guarantee we even save Jinxie doing this. He's near to death, and by the time we manage to pull this off, there's no guarantee he's not already dead. And then what we're doing is even more meaningless. There becomes no point to any sacrifice we make.
He gives you a look like, yeah, right. Like he doesn't really buy what you're saying, but doesn't say anything back.
The only other possibility I see is luring it out to a place we are not, so that we might be able to go in and get Kin Jinxie while it's not there. Which is difficult to do with something that has extremely powerful telepathy for a mile. If we do not go to rescue Kinjinxi, we will have not written off Kinjinxi. We will pursue other avenues of pulling Kinjinxi out of there. Would that be okay?
He just turns and starts walking out of the building, not towards the Belhanoff, basically just, ahead of where everybody is, like taking point and sulking.
I feel like I have broken the heart of someone who does not have one. Shall we continue to the temple?
I walk up to Jinxie and just say, I'm so sorry. I just don't know how us dying serves Jinxie either. I agree we're not necessarily giving up, but I'd like to make sure we stand a chance of making it out alive.
Okay, so which way are we going?
I think we're still heading towards the eastern residential area.
The Temple of
At
Grun,
the temple.
or the Temple of Dowreth.
And then stop by the temple on our way.
Yeah.
Kin Grun, before this day is over, could you send another message to Kinjinxi? Let him know we are not coming, but we have not given up.
Yep. And I send that exact message to Jinxie.
And you're sending that at the end of the day, or right now?
No, now, because I have the spells, so I would send it now while he's still potentially alive.
Okay. You send the message, and he basically gives you the sense that it's okay, and like he would nuzzle up to you to let you know that it's all right.
Okay, I convey that to the party.
And you carry on through the city. You reach an area where the signpost points directly at an archway of stone and says that it is the Temple of Dowreth. And you see the signpost points further east to the lower residences.
And Faewyn actually translates all of that for us.
Okay, so do we know we said the signposts don't give distances or anything, distractions.
To the temple, but cautiously.
Yes, Gaelen, how far away from the Balanoth would you say we approximately are right now?
We are several miles from it. It is in the opposite direction.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were not heading towards it, and therefore needed to be alert to mental effects from it.
So you guys head through the archway and find yourselves in a tunnel that isn't quite as well worked as the other tunnels that you and passageways that you've seen in Thorvald's Deep.
Do they look like they were neglected or just never made as well?
Never made as well. The stonework is much more rough.
Does it look like it was a deliberate roughness, or just they started on this and never finished?
You'd say deliberate.
Okay.
All right, I am kind of checking for traps as I go and listening as well.
Okay.
And Kin Skippy, perhaps you should scout ahead some with your cloak.
Yes.
I don't want to be in the rear. Can somebody go behind me?
Yeah,
Yes,
Grun will go
I'm-
in the rear. Or Gaelen, one of the two of us.
Thank you so much. I didn't like that. I'm tiny.
So am I.
Perhaps Kin Krabby could also be back here and less noisy.
Yeah, I'll stay at the front of the tailing group so that I can kind of get to either the front group or the rear group easiest.
I'm actually on Krabby. Sorry, I'm just here to watch, and he moves up, and I won't be as quick moving up, but I want to be here.
All right, Skippy, you've rolled your stealth. You can start moving, and you don't find any traps.
I'll message from here back that it's all clear to this point.
And you don't hear anything or see anything at this point.
Once everybody catches up, I'll do another stealth roll, and
Every time I catch up to him, I touch him and cast guidance, and it lasts for a minute.
and that's my next stealth is 7.
Okay, again, you find no traps. You're not hearing anything, and you stealthily walk up. So what you see in here is this area that you're coming up towards. Looks like it's a shelf, and it's
Almost like a balcony.
Yeah, it's about a 20-foot drop down to the floor.
Okay, I will move forward stealthily as well. I haven't messaged anybody, but now that I see Grun, I'll message to him and say that there's a balcony ahead, or not a balcony, a ledge, and looks like a 20-foot drop. I'm gonna go to the edge and see if anything can be seen, and I will do that.
I'll come with you. Oh, actually, right, stealthily. Never mind. Actually, not.
So another 17. I will look around and perception, see if I can hear anything or see. Oh God, I don't. I
So you walk up to the ledge here, and you see that this room is no longer stonework at all. It's stone. It's just solid stone, and it's a very large chamber. And you can see that there's a 10-foot wide hole in the ceiling further out into the room.
like daylight coming through.
No.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, way too deep for that. Sorry. Okay.
No worries.
Well, it would be something you'd be concerned about.
Okay, so I can see over the edge. Can I see the ground?
Yes.
And it looks like it's just rock and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I will wave everybody forward, and I will start to get out some rope
Okay.
from Grun's bag of holding.
And it's it's 20 feet down.
Yeah.
I jump.
I pull out pittons to put in on the way down to make it easier for us to get back up if we have to quickly.
Okay. So Gaelen, you're jumping down?
Yeah.
You don't take damage for falling 20 feet, right?
Let's see, on a perfect roll.
Not as long as you stay within so far of the wall. I think as long as you can touch the wall, you can slow your fall.
Actually, you don't have to be adjacent to anything. You can slow fall in the middle of anywhere.
Nice.
Oh, I thought you had to be adjacent.
Well, yeah, you tend to
That's
think
even
of
more
it.
broken.
You tend to think of it as like slowing yourself on the wall or whatever, but it's all about how you land.
Oh, that's funny.
And let's see, 20 feet. No, there's no way it can do. I reduce damage by 40. So
Okay. So you get down to the bottom, and you can see that there's along the edge of this ledge, there's handholds all the way around it that go up to the top.
as soon as I land, I raise my hand and splay it.
Faewyn waves back.
I pull my bow.
So it's Skippy. A lot of waving going on. Not a lot of comprehending.
Do I see what I see?
You see some mushrooms at the edge of your vision.
And do I comprehend that those are something I should be putting arrows into?
It looks like ordinary fungus.
How about me? I can see them now.
Yeah, you recognize them as shriekers. Like there are other mushrooms in the area, but these two specifically that you see are shriekers. And if you get close to them, they will sound an alarm.
I convey that to Gaelen. Is there?
How easy are they to kill? Do you know?
I shrug and pull out my crossbow.
One question. We've been following the directions to get to the Temple of Dowreth.
You followed the signpost here. Yep.
So they expected us to go over a 20-foot drop. Weird, but okay.
Dwarves, they're weird. Oh, this circle you just drew, that's the...
Above that, about 40 feet up, is a hole in the ceiling.
About 40 feet up, so 20 feet into that hole, can we see anything?
No.
There's a hole in the ceiling. Dear Faewyn, dear Faewyn.
These are definitely something we would want to kill.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna make a loud ruckus if we get near them. We might be able to circumvent them.
No, we cannot.
Well, Jesus. That's metagaming.
It's like they were put there on purpose.
Faewyn tries to get down. Does she notice all the handholds in?
Did Gaelen tell you all the
He-
handholds?
He just waved, but she's going to try and figure out how to climb down, so she'll be actually looking at the wall.
Well, there's a rope down there now.
Oh, okay. She'll use the rope.
Yeah, with the rope, it's easy to get down. You don't have to make any checks.
All right, Skippy, take aim on one of them, and we will rush the other.
I can help.
What are we doing?
These creatures are an alarm mechanism. We need to try and silence them. Can you silence them?
That'd sure be handy. I can fireball them.
Will
Anybody like roast mushroom?
Will Krabby be able? Will Krabby be unable to descend down to where everyone else is?
Yeah, he can't use handholds, I don't think, can he?
So he would essentially jump and mend himself when he lands.
Or you could just do mending on him until he's tickety boo. Probably make a bit of noise though.
Yeah, it would kind of defeat the purpose of disarming the alarms.
I'm gonna climb down, put him back up there. I will figure that out momentarily. Okay, what are you shooting?
I'm going to shoot the southern one, I guess. And I'll get within range. I have to be 30 feet or what? I forget here.
Do you want a hand?
30 feet.
The although the fireball sounds delightful, it is also quite loud.
Okay, stop once you're in 30 feet.
Shriek.
Why did you need to be within 30 feet?
I'm not in 30 feet.
You're not yet, but you were gonna get within 30 feet, right?
Says who?
You said.
I was thinking it was mostly just you.
Fine.
You guys can roll initiative.
All right. My
Okay, so Skippy, as you step forward, you see the mushroom start to react to your presence and get ready to shriek.
Do both of them get ready or just one?
Just one.
All right. I am aiming, so I have advantage on this shot.
That's a hit, and you kill it.
Nice. And that's my turn.
So Gaelen, you just watched as one of these mushrooms started to inflate as Skippy got close, and you shot it. The other one doesn't appear to be doing anything.
I will move up to here. I will say, do not approach them, and I will shoot that one.
Okay, that's a hit.
Pretty sure shooting them is going to make them go off.
Well, maybe, but that one started inflating because you got close.
Anything else on your turn?
Is it still alive? Shoot it again.
No, it's not.
Go and retrieve my arrow.
Oh yeah. I'll retrieve my crossbow.
After making sure there's no more of them first, though, right?
Well, yes, as approaching, watching for other ones.
Hey, there's some water over here.
Faewyn's going to stop and look up this hole in the ceiling.
Okay.
Did you say it was light coming from that or no?
Nope, it's dark up there.
Faewyn can see in dark vision 60 feet.
Yep, you can see up 40 feet to the ceiling and 20 feet up the hole, and you don't see anything up there.
You could ask Kin Serafina to check it out if you wish.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
before doing that, I was going to offer, I do have a daylight usage that I could shine in there to light it up.
Serafina seems like perhaps a better choice.
Before, can I stop everything for a second? And is there anything that I might know of for a creature that might have like a hole in the ceiling? Dear Ryan?
Give me an intelligence check with advantage.
Okay.
And actually, can I hear anything?
Give me a perception check.
These are always entertaining for Faewyn. Oh, that's one of her better ones.
Oh my god. Never mind.
You hear just the faintest sound of like kind of a sloshing sound.
Oh, I don't want to send. Now, does it sound like the water they said or coming from the ceiling?
It's coming from the ceiling.
Oh, I don't want to send Serafina up there by herself. But I also mention it because we might not want to have this at our back.
What do you think the odds of those things letting out their screech, releasing something from that hole?
Seems reasonable.
Kin Skippy, do you want to check out that water?
Okay. I will go stealthily and I will listen and look for traps as I do. Oh, it's not that far. I message back that it's not that far. And I'll roll my stuff now.
Yeah, there's a trap.
Remember that your perceptions are a disadvantage, eh?
Why? Oh, why? I believe you, but why? I forget.
Because that's we're using dark vision. Everything's low light, and low light gives disadvantage on perception.
Okay, so 25. There's a trap. Okay, where's the trap?
The water is electrified.
I can make that jump, but I don't think we all can.
Can I disarm it?
You can try.
Okay.
Are you casting guidance in here? Because that does have a verbal component to it.
I had forgotten such. No.
Yet you find the magical runes that are electrifying the pool and disable them.
Woohoo! I give everybody the thumbs up and make my way into the water, like testing how deep it is and stuff like that.
It's only 5 feet deep, which is pretty deep for you, but you know.
I don't breathe, so I walk.
Are my crabby commands non-verbal, or are they verbal?
While you're riding him, they should be as non-verbal as controlling a horse, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think if you have a mount, I think any control of that mount is non-verbal.
But he's not riding the mount right now. He left him back behind. I think that's why he's asking if you can call him back from here.
Actually, I'm wanting him to, for the moment, to defend himself up there.
Oh, well, he's always dodges.
Oh, that is true. Okay, we're good.
Does that thing say what he weighs?
It does not.
Because Grun is massive. He could probably climb up, grab him, put him under an arm, and climb down.
I mean, I have a 21 strength. This doesn't really seem like a huge issue at the moment. Grun be swole.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you're ridiculously strong.
So would you carry me across this water so I don't have to get wet?
Yep, I could probably carry both of the gnomes over my head right now if we wanted.
Do you think you could go and get Kin Krabby and bring him down safely?
Definitely give it a try. I mean, here's the thing. Krabby can make it down here, just not quietly. That was the only issue. And, I mean, am I any quieter than Krabby?
I think you're quieter than Krabby falling 20 feet.
That's fair. I'll go make an attempt.
Yeah, you have no problem.
Excellent. So yeah, I'll bring him down and group back up with everybody and then ferry Faewyn across.
Skippy playing with his dice?
Oh, he's waiting for you guys to show up, so he's just tossing his dice underwater. Then I'm going to go stealthily. I'll try to go quick.
So you don't see any traps, Skippy, and you don't hear anything. You're pretty stealthy. What you see up ahead is a staircase here in front of you that goes. It's as far ahead as you can see, and it's fairly steep going up.
Okay. I wave everybody to go ahead. Come ahead. And I will start to go up the stairs as stealthily as I can, checking for traps and listening.
Okay. You don't see or hear anything, don't find any traps, and this staircase is going up about 50 feet. And where Grun is, it levels out into a platform again, and the platform ends about here, and you can see more stairs going up.
Okay, I will move stealthily and okay.
Grun's really running ahead there.
I'm just moving ahead with Skippy, like behind Skippy.
There's no point in Skippy rolling stealth then, because this room of individuals hears Grun coming.
Grun.
Clanking up the stairs. Ching, 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 ching.
But one thing's for sure, they don't know you have a halfling with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.